global health equity has made progress. We saw once again with COVID, we're not there. So we're pleased to be working with Pfizer, and we're talking to the entire pharmaceutical industry about these kinds of initiatives and how we can broaden them as part of the whole ESG effort.
Global health equity. Man, what a term. We got a great panel to discuss that and many other things. Joining me now, my friend James Lindsay, founder of New Discourses and author of a book you really need to read, Race Marxism, if you want to understand what's going on out there right now. And of course, the great Carol Roth, recovering investment banker, author of the book, The War on Small Business, another one that should be on your shelf. James, I know this is kind of your baby. ESG, global health equity. James, what exactly does Bill Gates mean when he says global health equity? It sounds so nice.
It does sound so nice, doesn't it? Because equity means socialism, and health socialism sounds like a great program. Equity literally means redistributing shares so that citizens are made equal, and we're talking about globally doing that with regard to health. So we can expect to see some big medical Lysenkoism, which is a big word. Trofim Lysenko was a Soviet biologist and agriculturalist who starved millions with his crackpot theories of how we're going to do agriculture in a Soviet way. And we're going to see health equity as kind of the brand name for a push to ruin medicine globally to redistribute outcomes and shares, apparently through mRNA vaccines and so on, when Bill Gates gets talking about it. So it's a catastrophe in the making of historic proportions is more or less what that is. And of course, it's wrapped up in ESG, the brand of the hour.
Carol, why doesn't equity work? I mean, it does sound very nice, right? I mean, I want the idiot to have the same success that the smart person does, but why doesn't it work?
Because we're all different, Jesse. You wouldn't want everybody to just be like you, because then the world couldn't handle that much awesomeness, right? We need to have variety in the kind of awesome that we have. And that's the reality. There's a great short story by Kurt Vonnegut called Harrison Bergeron, which basically talks about this. And it had the ballerinas, having to have binders on them, and the athletes, having to have weights to weight them down so they could bring down their greatness to the level of everyone else. And that's what James is talking about in socialism. It's not lifting people up like capitalism, giving them more opportunities. It's taking the people who have the opportunity to thrive and to innovate and to make everybody's lives better and bringing them down to sort of the worst person in the room. So while I like equity in terms of ownership of things, financial equity opportunities, certainly don't like equity-driven outcomes.
James, I was at a neighborhood party the other night, a bunch of voting Republican neighbors, about 10 of us sitting around there having a couple cocktails, and I brought up ESG. These are all moderately successful people, fairly successful people, and not one person sitting around that table even knew what it was. I told them all to pull out their phones, look up their bank, and look up ESG, and their jaws all hit the floor. Why is something that's so broad and so powerful not known?
That's a really good question that I don't know the answer to. I have gone around not just with moderately successful Republicans in business. I've gone around to politicians in, maybe a dozen states who I talked to them about ESG and what an emergency ESG is and how it's tied into the pushes for diversity, equity, inclusion, and therefore equity, which equalizes downward because socialism is a redistribution scheme, not a production scheme. So it just brings things down. But they all tell me, I've maybe heard that one time in my life before you talked about it for half an hour just now. What is it? I don't understand how. I have no idea how they've been able to slide this central pillar of kind of investment finance under the radar of so many people so effectively over the past decade or so, but they have done so. And people need to wake up very quickly to the fact that ESG, as I like to put it, is the ring that they put through the nose of the bull on Wall Street. You want to control a bull, you put a ring through its nose. ESG is what they slid through the nostrils.